kid growing up. It's like sometimes your parents want to take you and make you have experiences that they enjoy, but you want to do kid things. You want to play around, you want to have fun, and it's not as enjoyable for you because it's not something you want to do in that moment. Right. So one example would be my mom always loved to go to these botanical gardens whenever I was growing up, and she'd always make me go along. And of course, I just wanted to run around and play. And after a while, she'd get frustrated. She'd pull me aside. She'd be like, no, just enjoy nature. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to enjoy it. And, just be walking around, just like, the bamboo, it's a bush, it's that, it's all nice, fine. No, but like, I don't get why my mom like loves this, why she loves looking at that bamboo bush. I mean, like, I guess it's okay. And I'll be like, trying to force myself to experience the beauty of it. Trying to force myself to be like, that's a pretty flower. I can see it. Like, I could recognize the beauty of it, but I wasn't feeling the beauty of it. I wasn't overwhelmed by it. It wasn't touching me. It wasn't bringing me into that place of stillness and that place of peace that beauty does to you. And then from my consciousness now, I'll just tell you recently, Guruji and I, just as an example, like we went to Niagara Falls. And I remember going there at the very beginning of my marriage with Guruji. And I saw these Niagara Falls, and I'm like, I love water, so it was still enjoyable. I still enjoyed it. I saw it was beautiful. Yeah. But compared to the experience I had now, going there, I didn't have to find the beauty of it. I didn't have to look into the experience to touch upon the beauty or to feel that incredible love and that purity of that experience. It's like we were walking together, and the moment I stood in front of it, the grace overwhelmed me without any thoughts or emotions to bring it forth. Like a lot of the time, you kind of, until you're enough of that level of purity within your own consciousness, you kind of have to call forth joy or call forth beauty or call forth a good experience. You have to make things good. You have to apply a certain level of effort to something to have a good experience, which is very true in life. You need to do things first, and then grace supports you. Right? You need to look for the beauty in things, and then grace will come through, and then you'll be able to feel it. It's not just forcing yourself to experience beauty. You look for it, and then divine supports you because you are putting in the effort to become pure, to become humble, to become compassionate, to become good. The intentions are pure, and through those pure intentions, they carry a power with you that help transform your experience. Now that experience has that power of that divine grace with it. And then you can feel it. But there's an initial push, usually, for a lot of people. There's an initial push you have to just navigate through, right? There's just a slight moment of resistance where you have to just kind of force it for a moment. And that's the part where a lot of people don't want to get past, because they're comfortable where they are, or maybe they're feeling a little lazy, right? They're following, lower tendencies of human life, which is like, was it the 7 sins and all those things, or whatever you want to call them. But, just like greed and jealousy and, laziness and those types of things. Those are lower tendencies that every human, right, has capacity to feel. And you usually have to push yourself beyond that moment, right? It's not like you're automatically going to wake up and be like, I want to go to the gym. You have to push yourself. And maybe the moment when you're finally on the treadmill running, then you can, somehow the motivation comes to you to keep going. Then it's okay. Then it sustains itself for a longer period of time with less effort on your part. That's because that energy, that grace is supporting you because you're doing something good for consciousness. Even if it means taking care of your physical body is very much a part of your consciousness, just as your mental and emotional bodies are, just like your soul is. So is your physical body. You do things for your physical body, you take care of it. The only problem is when you identify solely with it. Because then if there's a problem, you can't fix it on the physical level. You don't know what to do. So there are different ways in which life leads us. Like if you've seen Groundhog Day, right? That movie, that great movie, where he's living the same day over and over and over again. And at first he starts off living incredibly selfishly. He just starts doing everything that he wants to do. Or he just tries to get to the point where, first like he's confused and he's lost and he's afraid and he's angry. And then slowly he starts to do things for selfish reasons. And he starts doing that. And of course, that's not changing his life. That's not doing anything differently. And then he starts to, he tries to sleep with someone, and he spends day after day perfecting his courtship with this woman that he's trying to sleep with until he does it perfectly, where she almost gets there at the last moment, and then she realizes he's a bastard, and then she leaves. And then it isn't until he loses his focus on the fact that he's living the same day in over and over and over again. That's no longer his main priority or his focus. Now instead, he's living every day trying to live as perfectly as he can, trying to live as morally, trying to help others, not without any selfish motive, not without, focusing on himself and his journey and trying to improve it and wake up from this Groundhog Day he's facing over and over again, but simply because he wants to help people. And at first it might start off with the glory he experiences helping people, right? He wants to be seen as a god. And he's, at first he starts off like that. He can predict what happens in the future and everybody's, bedazzled and impressed, but it doesn't make him feel happier. It doesn't satisfy him. He gets the high of it and everything, but ultimately when he goes home, he realizes he's a fraud, first of all. And then at the same time, he wakes up again and it's the same day over again. It doesn't change his conscious experience. It just perpetuates it again and again and again. And it isn't until finally he forgets himself. He sacrifices his own struggles and his own pain in that moment, and he puts all of his interest into helping others. Not for the glory, not for the selfishness of it, but simply because he can't not do it. It would cause him too much pain to ignore someone that he sees suffering every day. Now he's like helping them and taking care of them. And then eventually, that woman that he was trying to court earlier, he's no longer focused on courting her, but as a result, she gets courted by him because of the person he's become, because of who he's transformed to be. Because the person she thought he was at the beginning of Groundhog Day versus the person she realized he really is are not the same person. And then she falls in love with them, they fall in love with each other, and then he wakes up and it's no longer Groundhog Day anymore. Of course, that's a little fantastical representation, but there's a lot of dharmic truth in that story. I would say all of you should watch that movie. It's a great movie with great spiritual teaching behind it. Groundhog Day. So that's what consciousness is doing through us.